A long time ago, in the heart of Africa, there lay the prosperous kingdom of Zoromu, a land where tradition and honor were held above all. King Kwaku ruled with wisdom and strength. He had 2 children, Princess Zuri, his firstborn, and Prince Kwame, his beloved son and heir. The king's wife had died while giving birth to Kwame, and King Kwaku never remarried. He raised his son and daughter alone with the help of royal servants. Princess Zuri was his cherished flower, while Prince Kwame was the regal heir to the throne, very close to his father. Despite the love Zuri received from her father, she was always lonely and sad. She found solace in the company of Joboli, the leader of the royal guard. Jaba was a young man, loyal to the king, but his love for Zuri tested his limits. He knew he wasn't supposed to be in love with the king's daughter. Jabari, I fear the day we must part ways. Our love is forbidden, yet my heart cannot deny its truth.
Zuri, my love for you knows no bounds. But the laws of our land are clear. We must cherish these stolen moments.
Under the cloak of night, Zuri and Jabari would meet in secret, their love hidden from the prying eyes of the kingdom. Their hearts, bound by a love that defied tradition, found solace in the serene embrace of the garden. In these stolen moments, they shared the burdens of royalty and duty, finding freedom in each other's presence. Zuri felt a profound sense of liberation, as if the very garden understood their bond and offered them sanctuary. Yet, despite the sanctuary they found, the weight of fear lingered. The thought of discovery loomed over them, for they knew the consequences would be dire. But Jabari's resolve was unwavering. He believed their love was worth every risk, every stolen moment. He vowed to protect Zuri at all costs, to face whatever dangers lay ahead with courage and determination. Until that day, we will cherish these stolen moments and keep our love hidden in the sanctuary of this garden.
Let our love guide us through the shadows.
As time passed, the secret that Zuri and Jabari had so carefully guarded began to unravel. The princess's unexpected pregnancy became a source of fear and anxiety for them both. They tried desperately to conceal the growing evidence, choosing loose clothing and avoiding prying eyes. Yet, whispers and suspicions began to circulate among the villagers and courtiers alike. During a grand celebration in the palace courtyard, Zuri's secret could no longer be hidden. The once subtle signs of her condition were now unmistakable. Her flowing garments could no longer mask the truth of her pregnancy. The festive atmosphere was punctuated by the murmurs and knowing glances of the court. As the reality of her situation dawned on the assembled nobles and villagers, the weight of her shame threatened to crush her spirit. The once celebratory gathering now buzzed with speculation and judgment, casting a shadow over the kingdom. Zuri stood amidst the crowd, her heart heavy with the knowledge that the consequences of her love with Jabari would soon come to bear. After the grand celebration, rumors swirled through the kingdom like wildfire. "Have you seen the princess? How could she bring such shame upon our kingdom?" one courtier murmured, her voice tinged with scandal. "Who is the father? Such disgrace must be met with consequences," another voice chimed in, the question hanging heavily in the air. "I've seen her with Captain Jabari too often at night," a villager reported, eyes wide with the thrill of gossip. "Could he be the one?" "It must be Jabari," another whispered. "I've noticed how they look at each other. This is a grave offense. What will the king do? This is an affront to our traditions," yet another questioned, worry creasing their brow. The village buzzed with tales of Zuri's apparent defiance and the possible retribution that awaited. Some whispered of secret meetings in the garden, while others speculated about the king's reaction to such a scandal. Everyone in the kingdom watched and waited for the inevitable fallout, their eyes on the royal family as the weight of tradition and honor pressed down heavily upon them. In the solemn grandeur of the throne room, King Kwaku, a figure of unwavering tradition and pride, sat upon his golden throne with a stern countenance. His regal presence seemed to fill the vast chamber, yet his heart was heavy with the weight of the dishonor now thrust upon his family. Before him stood Princess Zuri, her head bowed in shame as tears welled in her eyes. The air in the room was thick with tension and palpable disappointment. "Zuri, how could you let this happen?" The king's voice boomed with controlled anger, echoing against the stone walls. "Who is responsible for this disgrace?" Zuri's voice quivered as she struggled to find the words. "Father, I love him. It is Captain Jabari." King Kwaku's stern expression hardened further, his brows furrowing deeply. "Jabari. The god." His voice was laced with disbelief and betrayal. "This is an affront to our traditions and honor. He must be punished, and you have brought shame upon us all." In that moment, the weight of expectation and familiar duty clashed with the deep-seated love that had blossomed between Zuri and Jabari. The throne room, once a symbol of power and unity, now bore witness to the fracture caused by forbidden love. The kingdom held its breath, awaiting the king's decree, as the fate of their cherished princess and her beloved guard hung in the balance. Captain Jabari, noble and unyielding, faced his fate with courage. His love for Zuri gave him strength even as the court demanded his punishment. The atmosphere in the royal court was charged with tension as Jabari stood tall, his head held high despite the chains that bound him. "I accept whatever punishment you deem fit, my king. But know this, my love for Zuri is true and pure," Jabari declared, his voice unwavering and filled with conviction. King Kwaku's eyes burned with a mix of anger and sorrow as he responded, "You have broken our laws and traditions. You shall be exiled from Zaramu, never to return." A heart-wrenching cry pierced the heavy silence. "Father, please. Do not take him from me." Zuri's voice was filled with desperation and anguish. But the king, resolute in his decision, responded coldly, "This is my decree. The honor of Zaramu must be restored." The royal court fell into a somber silence as the weight of the king's words settled over them. Jabari's fate was sealed, and the cost of their forbidden love became painfully clear. The once hopeful dreams of Zuri and Jabari now lay shattered, sacrificed at the altar of tradition and honor. Amidst the sadness of losing the love of her life to exile, a new chapter began for Princess Zuri. In the quiet nursery of the palace, she gave birth to a son. The room, filled with the gentle murmurs of midwives and attendants, was a sanctuary of new beginnings. Zuri held her newborn son, his innocent cries piercing through the shadows of shame and bringing a beacon of hope. The midwives and attendants looked on with a mix of awe and reverence, sensing the significance of this new life. Whispering softly, Zuri gazed into her son's eyes. "My son, you are the light in this darkness. I shall name you Toji, for you are a crown upon my heart." In that moment, surrounded by the warmth and wonder of new life, Zuri found a renewed sense of purpose and hope. Her son, Toji, symbolized a fresh beginning and a promise of brighter days ahead. Tragedy struck the kingdom once more as Prince Kwame, the king's only son and heir, fell gravely ill. Despite the best efforts of the kingdom's most skilled herbalists, the illness could not be treated, and the prince's condition worsened rapidly. The palace was shrouded in darkness and mourning as Prince Kwame succumbed to his ailment. King Kwaku, standing over the bed of his deceased son, was a picture of profound grief and despair. The kingdom was plunged into sorrow, and the throne lay without an heir. "My son, my only heir. What did I do to deserve this? The gods must be angry with me." King Kwaku's voice broke through the heavy silence, his anguish echoing through the halls of the palace. The loss of Prince Kwame cast a shadow over the kingdom, leaving its people to mourn the future that had been lost. In a display of solidarity and shared grief, the villagers gathered around a bonfire with the royal family. For 3 days and nights, they mourned together, their collective sorrow binding them in a somber vigil. The flames of the bonfire flickered in the night, mirroring the kingdom's flickering hope and uncertain future. With the throne left vacant, the royal council convened to determine the future of Zaramu. The kingdom stood on the brink of chaos, and the council chamber buzzed with urgent debate. Dignitaries and advisers filled the room, their voices rising in a chorus of concern. Without an heir, the kingdom will fall into disarray. We must act quickly, insisted one councillor, his tone reflecting the gravity of the situation. But who can claim the throne? The bloodline must be preserved. Another argued, emphasizing the importance of maintaining royal lineage. In this moment of uncertainty, Zuri stepped forward, holding her son Toji. The room fell silent as she approached, her presence commanding attention. My son, Toji, is of royal blood. He is the grandson of King Kwaku and the rightful heir to the throne. Zuri declared, her voice steady and resolute. A murmur of surprise and consideration spread through the councillors. But he is the son of a god, born out of wedlock. Can we accept this? One councillor questioned, voicing the concerns of tradition and protocol. King Kwaku, rising from his seat, looked upon his daughter and grandson with a mix of pride and determination. Toji is my grandson, and he carries the blood of our lineage. In these times, we must look beyond tradition and embrace the future, he proclaimed. His words a beacon of hope for the kingdom. The council, moved by the king's declaration, began to see Toji not as a product of scandal but as the promise of a new beginning. The kingdom's path forward became clear, guided by the unity and strength of its people. In a grand coronation scene set in the palace courtyard, young Toji, adorned in splendid royal robes, stood at the center of attention. King Kwaku, his face beaming with pride, gently placed the crown upon Toji's head. A symbol of a promising future. Zuri, standing nearby, watched with a heart brimming with pride and hope as the people of Zoromu erupted in joyous celebration. People of Zoromu, behold your future king, Toji. May his reign be long and prosperous, King Kwaku proclaimed, his voice resonating with authority and conviction. Zuri's eyes glistened with emotion as she gazed at her son. My son, you carry the legacy of our people. Lead with wisdom and love, and the kingdom shall flourish. Though Toji was still too young to rule, he began working closely with his grandfather King Kwaku, learning the art of leadership and preparing for his future role. His presence instilled a sense of continuity and stability to the great kingdom of Zoromu. Under the wise and patient guidance of King Kwaku, Toji grew in wisdom and strength, embodying the hopes and dreams of Zoromu. In the land, where the sands tell tales of old and the river sings of future hopes, the legacy of Zoromu endures. It stands as a testament to the unyielding power of love and the resilience of a united people.